Hi traders, Gavin McMaster from Options Trading IQ here, doing another video collaboration with Barchart. And today we're looking at using options volume to increase profit potential. Just before we start, just a quick reminder that everything discussed is for educational purposes only, is general in nature, and does not take into account your personal circumstances. So in today's video, you'll learn about options volume and open interest. You'll learn how to analyze option volume and open interest and key things to watch when looking for trade ideas. Plus, you'll learn which stocks to avoid and why. So option volume refers to the total number of contracts traded during a given period. When we see high option volume, it's akin to a bustling marketplace indicating heightened interest and activity. Monitoring option volume can be an important part of trading. Why? Because spikes in volume often precede significant price movements. We also want to avoid stocks with low option volume, and we'll see why in a second. So imagine a stock experiencing a sudden surge in call option volume. This uptick might suggest that traders are expecting a bullish move. Conversely, a surge in put option volume could signal the anticipation of a bearish trend. Open interest refers to the total number of open contracts that have not yet been closed by an offsetting trade or option assignment. This may seem strange, but we can often get scenarios where volume is higher than the open interest. So this can occur if most of the volume is for closing transactions. And we can see an example here with NVIDIA. These are the call options with 6 days to expiration. And we can see here that volume for most of these strikes is significantly higher than the open interest. So that kind of tells us that most of these trades are closing trades rather than opening new trades. So that could be an important distinction. And that makes sense. There's only 6 days to expiration. So that's the time when a lot of traders are going to be starting to close out their trades for that particular expiration. So the greater the volume and open interest, the better the liquidity and tighter the bid-ask spreads. Option volume is reset daily, while open interest is calculated continuously over the life of the option. And when looking for options trades, it's a good idea to focus on strikes with at least 100 in daily volume and 500 in open interest. Option volume can also give an indication into market sentiment. So large call buying can indicate a bullish trend, and high and or unusual option activity can indicate institutional activity, which can often precede big moves in the stock. So here we have our unusual options activity report from Barchart. And we can see here that there's some stocks with really high volume in relation to their open interest. So they've got a very high volume to open interest ratio. And we're going to take a look and drill down into a few of these using Barchart Excel to see if we can get some insights into what might be happening underneath the surface on a couple of these stocks. So the first one was MPW, a $3.50 put for the January 19th expiration. So what I'm going to do is go into my Barchart Excel. I'm going to go to history, type in the ticker. We'll go to options, and our expiration was January 19th. I'll just double click that, and it was the $3.50 put. Double click that, and then we'll go to top of book and insert. And this is going to bring in all our time and sales data for this particular stock. And what I like to do is just highlight the volume column, and then I just look for the max here, 485. And then I'll just scroll down and see if I can find that big trade. And we can see here, there's a huge amount of volume here towards the end of the day. And we can see that it was traded at the ask price. So the traded price was 30 cents. And at the time, the ask price was 30 cents. So that's someone buying that put option. So that could indicate a potential bearish bet that someone's making on that particular stock. If we go over to barchart.com, we can take a look at the MPW stock, and we can see that the chart looks pretty nasty. That's a pretty bearish stock. All right, we've got an 80% sell rating, and that seems like a pretty good potential bearish candidate, down 29% on the day on Friday. So there's a lot of people betting that there's going to be further downside in this stock. maybe there's some news that's come out, and maybe the company's in real trouble. Who knows? But there's definitely a bit of interest there in the option volume. The next one was another MPW $3.50 put for the January 12th expiration. So we'll do the same process. Bring in our $3.50 put. And the max volume was 200. So we'll scroll down till we see that big trade. And again, that came in towards the end of the day, a couple of blocks of 200. And again, it was traded at the ask. So that seems like someone's buying those put options, short-term expiration. So that's a pretty big bet that stock's going to continue heading lower. Another couple of interests was this PACB call option. The thing that stood out to me here was that it was a September expiration. So a lot of these other ones are quite short term. This was a long-term trade, so could indicate a bullish bet on this particular stock. So I wanted to drill down into the volume and see if we can get some more insights there. So we go to our Barchart Excel, select the stock, September expiration, and it was the $12 call option. Again, we highlight our volume column and we can see that there was a big trade there for 10,000 contracts. So we'll scroll down until we find that one. That came in basically at the open on the day, and we can see it was pretty close to the ask price, and shortly after the ask was 125 to 155. So that's a big bullish bet on that particular company. Opened at the start of the day. To me, that definitely indicates some bullish activity underneath the surface. If we go and look at the stock, we can see looks like a biotech company, which makes me even more interested. Maybe there's some news that's about to come out on that one. Potentially someone's got some inside information that they're going to have a good period over the next 6 to 9 months. So that's certainly a one of interest that we've found based on the option volume and the open interest in using our tools at barchart.com and Barchart Excel. And we'll look at one more, which was this ADM. Probably out of this list, one of the more higher volume stocks. We've got Citigroup as well, Meta as well down here. But we'll look at this ADM $65 put for February. And let's take a look at our volume. There was a big one there for 5,625. We can see a pretty big volume here. That was again traded at the ask. So that's someone buying those put options by the looks of it, a bearish bet. And if we scroll down, we can see some more big volume here, traded at about 85 cents, which is closer to the ask price. So again, seems to me to indicate a bearish bet on that particular stock. We'll go to barchart.com and we'll just have a look, a quick glance at the chart. And 88% sell rating certainly does look quite bearish. We could also go in and take a more detailed look at the chart. And I might just get rid of this indicator. And I'll get rid of the Bollinger Bands. One thing I like to look at is the accumulation distribution, which looks quite weak. And we'll add a moving average as well. And we can see there it's breaking below the 50-day moving average. There's some potential support here at 70, but if that breaks, that could see some really decent downside in that particular stock. So again, that looks like another really good potential bearish candidate that we've found through looking at our option volume and open interest reports. Another good report that we can run at barchart.com is the change in open interest. We're seeing here a couple of interests with Tesla. We've seen some really big change in open interest in these call options. Now, these are quite short term, January 12th. They're out of the money. And again, another one here in Tesla, fairly short term, out of the money call option. That could indicate some bullish bets in Tesla. So let's take a look at that first one. Which was January 12th, and it was a 252.50 call. So let's have a look. 90 seems to be the max. There we go, a couple there. Not a huge trade block, but it was traded at the ask. So again, that's a bullish bet. So maybe some bullish activity there under the surface in Tesla. So another good report to check out. Take a look at change in open interest. Sometimes you can drill down into those particular strikes and you might find some more insights there. Another way to use the volume and open interest of options is to find stocks that you might want to avoid. So we're looking at Lam Research here, LRCX. It's a fairly popular, well-known stock, but it's not very active in the options market. So you can see here, not a lot of volume at all and very little open interest. And as a result, the bid-ask spread is quite wide. So 13.45 to 13.90. It's going to be very hard to get a good fill on these options. So this is one that I would probably tend to avoid, because it's not just when we're getting into a trade, if we can't get a good price, it's also if we have to adjust or close, and we're suffering a bit of slippage if we're not getting filled near that midpoint, which is likely to be the case when there's such little volume in this particular stock. Similar for IYT, fairly well-known, popular transportation ETF, but just really inactive in the options market. You can see here basically no volume and very little open interest. And once again, quite wide bid-ask spreads. For example, if we wanted to sell this 255, it's going to be very hard to sell that at $7. The market makers are going to take us to the cleaners a little bit on that one. So that's another one that I would tend to avoid, purely based on the volume, open interest, and the bid-ask spread. So that's definitely something to look at before you consider any option trade on a particular stock or ETF. Is always check the volume, open interest, and the spread. Again, you want to be looking for volume of about 100 and open interest of about 500 on the strike that you're trading. So in conclusion, analyzing option volume and open interest can give valuable insights when evaluating option trading opportunities. Try to avoid option strikes with less than 100 volume and 500 open interest. And keep an eye on unusual option activity to gain an insight into the market sentiment of large institutions. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great trading day, and we'll talk to you again soon.